Guess which knife we're looking at today? If you said Mini Adira, you are absolutely correct. Congratulations. This is my newest addition to my knife collection. And here's what happened. This is my travel knife. I was traveling again. I fly into the new place of where I'm going to be residing for a couple of weeks, and I don't have a knife on me because I had a carry-on luggage and nothing checked in. And so at the place where I'm at, I'm going to buy a knife. In this case, it's a Mini Adira. You guys should be familiar with this. In year 2023, was it 23 or 24? I have to look it up. So I did a quick Google Bing search and the Benchmade Mini Adira was first introduced as part of the designer series in 1991. What the heck are they even talking about? Was that like 33 years ago? I don't think so. This knife was introduced as part of Benchmade's water collection in 2024. So it was just last year, less than a year ago. The Benchmade introduced 6 knives in their water collection. There were 2 filleting knives with a really long, thin filleting blades, 7 inches and 9 inches, I believe. There were 2 fixed blades, one smaller, kind of like the Mini Adira, but different shape, of course, and one larger, kind of like just Adira, and then 2 folders, which was this one, the Mini Adira and Adira. And so as soon as I saw that, I'm impartial to folders. Some people like fixed blades, some people need filleting blades. I mean, if you do a lot of filleting, what else are you gonna do? You need a filleting knife. I don't do any filleting whatsoever, and I don't do anything with my knives. My knives usually don't get a lot of use, but I'm a big knife connoisseur and a collector, and I love Benchmade. And so, you know, the Mini Adira and Adira have started interesting me. I was leaning most towards Adira itself, the bigger knife, which I would assume it was, you know, kind of like Adamas size. This is Mini Adamas, right? In that time, I did not buy Mini Adira or Adira. If I was, I would probably buy Adira. But ever since they released the water collection, I was fascinated with it because I like Magna Cut steel. Let's start there. I like this design. I like the colors, everything. And so, you know, like a shark, I was circling the water collection, and I would come to places like REI and some Big 5 sporting goods, and anywhere where they have knives, I would look at that, and they almost never have the Adira knife, the bigger one, but they would always have the Mini Adira. And this is the one I would kind of get to touch and feel and handle, and every time I would be so impressed. Every time I would be like, I should buy it right now, and I would not buy it. But this time I was traveling and I figured this is the time to get it, and now it's mine. You know, and I always recommend, you know, if you guys are traveling, you know, go where you are, buy yourself a knife there, you know, enjoy it while you're there, and then you have a nice knife as a reminder of your trip. And also, you know, you bring yourself a knife, you bring yourself some memories with it. Every time you handle this knife, you remember about that trip. So that's something nice to remember. Hopefully it wasn't a horrible trip, that something you want to forget. But if it was a nice trip, you know, and you want to have something to remember it by, you can have a knife in your life, and it would be associated with that place you traveled. And that's what I call a travel knife. So what is a Mini Adira? Of course, I have no idea what they're talking about on the internet, that Mini Adira was introduced as part of the designer series in 1991. I'm talking about this one. And by the way, if you know the 1991 Mini Adira, please drop it in the comments. Is that some kind of fluke on the internet? Is that like AI getting ahead of itself, or is that a real thing? So what is Mini Adira? It's like I said, it's part of water collection. The MSRP is $230. Of course, there's tax on top of that, but I was able to get it for $228 at the REI store because they gave me a 10% discount because I was getting the last one from the floor model. I don't know if that's going to work for you, if they're going to give you a discount, but they did this for me. I was very happy about it. So I got 10% discount. I bought this knife for $228. So what is going on over here? So like with a lot of Benchmade knives, it's got Greavery handles, which is GFN, glass-filled nylon. Spyderco has FRN, fiberglass reinforced nylon, which is, I assume it's the same thing. Like, it wouldn't be anything else. The overall length is 7.46 or 189.5 centimeters. Close length is 4.25, like this, which is 10.8 centimeters. Just the blade length is 3.21, and I think that's about where bug out is. Of course, Adira is a different animal. It's a water animal. It's hefty. It's a little heftier. The weight of this, if it's gonna tell me, I'm looking at the website. It doesn't say the weight. Oh no, it does. I hope 3.09 ounces, right? So that's this one is 1.85. It's heftier, but it's heftier all around. You have more in your hand. And what I also like, it's got this lanyard which can further increase your tightness of your grip. If you need something else to feel your hand, you have this lanyard. I don't know if that's how people use it. Sometimes it's sticking out from the pocket, which is kind of nice, I think, but it's also a giveaway that you have something in your pocket, which, depending on where you are, you may want that or you may not want that. I like it a lot. I know some people are getting rid of their lanyards. I'm not gonna get rid of this lanyard. It's one of the favorite things I like about this knife. I'm never getting rid of this. Never say never, but I don't feel like I'm getting rid of this lanyard. It's got a the full-size deep carry pocket clip, which can be on left or right side. It's up to you. It's got some the steel liners. They don't go all the way. They kind of go like up to here, up to this screw right here, which is kind of like what they do in both bug out and also bailout. You have this screw in the middle here. That's the last screw that holds the halfway liners that kind of go just to this screw, just to that area. I guess the aluminum one is it's also got the liners. Aluminum one's got the steel liners, and that's the screw that holds that end of that liner. So they're using the same playbook on this Mini Adira here, and that kind of adds to lightweight nature of this knife. Lightweight considering what it is. It is lightweight, I would say, even though it's 3 ounce, so you be the judge if that's lightweight to you. CPM Magna Cut steel, the greatest thing under the sun just at this moment, and the hardness of Benchmade promises 60 to 62 HRC, which is a Rockwell hardness on a C scale. 60 to 62 is great. You are not going to be disappointed. In fact, I'm using it. I'm loving it. This is the knife, because of the nature of my trip, this knife has got more use out of it already than all of my knives combined at the moment. I came back home from my travels. I sharpened it. It's super sharp right now, actually. It sharpens great. Magna Cut steel is like that. It's not a big deal to sharpen, but at the same time, it stays sharp and it's tough. It's stainless. It's all those glorious and wonderful things. It's got great toughness, great edge retention. Also, I like this thing that they're doing for the water collection. The design is in white paint. I'm not sure what this paint is. You kind of feel it. It's not etched or anything like that. And the same thing is over here. It's just a white color, markings on this blade, which kind of work really well for this overall design. That's why I bought this knife. I just like the design. Now, when I'm looking at this handle, I can tell they took some of the cues from the Mini Adamas, from Sean Siebert's playbook, and actually the part of that is a little bit like that. You can see the resemblance, hopefully, and a little bit of Mel Pardue when it comes to blade. You have that thing going on over here. You have that curve over here in both cases. Of course, this one is a tanto, as they say. But yeah, you can see some, not so much from Purdue, however, a little bit from Purdue, but definitely some Sean Siebert is whispering in the ear to the designers in this case, which is great. Now, this knife does not feel in hand like the Sean Siebert knife, primarily because the blade for Sean Siebert is wider. This one is also Magna Cut, but it's wider, means it's heavier. So the overall feeling is different, when you operate it, when you open and close it. That adds to a differently feeling knife. Not to mention this one is carbon fiber. This one is Grievery, which some people say they like it, some people say they don't. This Grievery feels and looks very nice, very dignified. That design, the water design over there, it's really nice, really good looking. Anybody who handled this knife says it's impressively good looking, even though online it didn't look that way. Okay, so I was somewhere where I was working with land, and I had to open a big packet of soil, and I was holding it in my hands. It was heavy, and there was a lady, and I asked her, reach into my pocket and get that knife and rip into this bag and open the soil so I can pour the soil out. So she reached, she opened the knife, and she said, oh no, this knife is too nice. I cannot open that soil packet. I will get this knife dirty. So she didn't even want to use this knife when she pulled it out. And she's not a knife user she knows nothing about knives, and she just felt like this is too nice to use. And so I said, hey, just put that sucker to use, dig into that, get it dirty, dig into that, sack of soil, make it rip, make that soil all over this handle and everywhere. Like, I want this knife to feel the soil in it. It was dirty and everything. I washed it, cleaned it. It's working better than ever. Of course, Magna Cut is almost second to none when it comes to stainlessness. That's why it's been chosen for water series. And with Magna Cut, you have to be very, very careful because it actually doesn't have a lot of chromium. The stainlessness comes from chromium. It has less chromium than D2 steel. D2 steel is not even stainless, it's semi-stainless. The whole magic of Magna Cut is in its microstructure, in how you handle it, in how you process and heat treat the blades. All that is very important. That's the magic that Thomas Larin brought into the knife world. By not having a lot of chromium, you're not jeopardizing the toughness, but you need chromium for stainlessness, but there's not a lot of chromium, and that's why it's so important to have a company you can trust to do a good job with this Magna Cut. Because if Magna Cut is not properly done, it's worse than D2 when it comes to it being stainless. It will rust. It will be one of the worst things you ever handled. Of course, do we trust Benchmade to do everything properly? Yes, we do. Whatever you guys say, of course, people say all kinds of things, but we do trust Benchmade. When they say it's 60 to 62 HRC, I trust them like I trust myself, maybe even a little bit more. And this knife feels great. Like I said, I already used it more than I used all of my other knives combined, and it's a great user, and it's new looking. I mean, the pocket clip has got a a little bit of a some of the wear there. You can see I love it. It wears very nicely, very dignified. It's still it's got all its style intact. None of the style is missing. It's a great knife. Oh my god, I'm enjoying it so much. And like I said, if you think like it is look-alike of the Mini Adamas, it is, but is it feel alike? It's not. It feels completely different, and I don't know which one you will prefer. You would have to decide that for yourself. I was very impressed with it every time I handled at the store, and that's why eventually I had to give in and to get this knife. No regrets, like that tattoo says. Anyway, so that's the story with this knife. Now, do you want to see size comparisons? Obviously, you can see this, right? What else we have? Griptilian, right? Griptilian is the OG. Adira is OG wannabe. It's not an OG. Sorry, but there's only one Griptilian. You don't just come into the knife world less than a year ago and replace the Griptilian. You're not a Griptilian. Don't you like this barrel-shaped handle on Griptilian? What a great thing Mel Purdue done for us. Anyway, so a little smaller than Griptilian, different handle shape. Actually, this handle is really interesting because it doesn't feel like it might work for you, right? Something weird is going on here, something like fish scales or anything like that, but it works very, very well. Take my word for it, or go ahead and try it out. And if you need to double up, and I could always use some more grip. My hands might be a little larger than average, and you can just pull it in with the lanyard, and then you have really nice grip. What else can you say about this? I mean, not much. You either like it or you don't. I do. It's got all the right parts and it works. I mean, it really works because I already put it to work a bunch. And it will do some more work. At this time, I'm just planning to use it, to enjoy it. It's probably gonna be my knife for at least the end of the month, is what I'm thinking. All right, so if you want to compare it to like 3P2, they look like a nice pair, don't they? Evenly matched. If you're a multi-tool guy or a gal and you want your knife to be harmoniously paired, you might want to consider this pair. ProTech is smaller. The Round 5. Now, the Narrows is a little larger, right? But only in lengthwise dimension. It's obviously narrower, which you guys already know. That's what the Narrows is famous for. Yeah, this way it's about the same, right? just narrows being a little longer, but this way Adira will be wider, narrows will be narrower. You know, if you can't decide which one of these to get, do what I did and have both. That's the only correct decision. we're so we're so self-indulging here in our states. Out here we have a good life. Anyway, that's my quick review of this Mini Adira. Thank you guys for tuning in.